Hurling icon Davy Fitzgerald is speaking with us today for the launch of London's sponsorship of Ireland's Fittest family. London will sponsor RTE's hit TV show for a fourth year in a row, which returns to our screens on Sunday, the 2nd of October, for a 10th season. The hugely popular show features presenter Mairead Ronan and a star-studded lineup of coaches, including Davy Fitz, Anna Geary and Donnacha O'Callaghan. New to the coaching lineup this year is former jockey and Dancing with the Stars winner Nina Carberry, filmed in Kilruddery Estate in Wicklow. 16 of Ireland's fittest, fastest and strongest families gather from across all 4 provinces to compete over the 8 weeks for the title of Ireland's fittest family in a series of challenges designed to test their physical and mental endurance. Davy Fitz, good morning to you. How are you?
Good morning. How are you?
All the filming is over, am I right? So you know what happens.
Yeah. Do you want me to tell you?
No, I think. I don't think you would.
No, I won't be telling you. No, but it's all done. So it is. We finished about 2 weeks ago there. So all done and dusted.
And is this part then when you're waiting for? It's a bit like, you know, you invite people to your 21st or a house party, and you're just waiting for everybody to get it. You've done all the work. Everything is excited. So there's a bit of nervousness and anticipation ahead of what the response is going to be from the public.
Yeah, like you're always wondering, it's the same at your game. What will the numbers be like? How will people react to it? Like, thankfully, over the last 9 years, it's gone from strength to strength, and people now see it as a ritual of a Sunday night where they can sit down, relax together, shout, roar, enjoy it. And that's what we wanted, to tell you the truth. Like, Ger, we wanted that bit of fun. We wanted that to come into people's lives, and it's done pretty okay.
It's a hit, obviously, with multiple demographics, but particularly with kids. Like, they love the show and they love the coaches. Is there a part of your life where you're kind of surprised sometimes that people know who you are, not from your exploits as a hurler or as a manager, but actually there's Davy Fitz from Ireland's Fittest family?
To tell you the truth, the difference, like a number of years ago, any place I went to, maybe certain people knew me through the hurling. Now that would have a backseat completely. Fittest family would definitely resonate with the younger people for definite. And there's your man from Fittest family, and you know what, I enjoy it. It's good.
Is there an element, Davy, like I suppose Sunday nights where it was the fear and the homework not done and the Glen Rowe music for a lot of people for many years? Was there an element of this that you wanted to be a bit of crack on a Sunday night, that element of Sunday night dread, I suppose, is taken away by a show like this?
Do you know what we wanted? I can remember myself and James Sexton, who came up with the idea to start. What we really wanted was for different generations to be able to sit down and watch the same program together. That, like, there's very few programs you'll sit down, you'll watch with your mum and your dad, or even like your grandparents. You can sit down and watch this with any generation. And that's the biggest thrill that we have got out of this, is you can sit down, everyone can look at it, and you'll end up rooting for someone or another on the show, and it's great. Did
you watch a lot of TV? Were you a big TV watcher before this came along into your life?
I love watching TV. I'll be honest with you. I like, probably me after a game, I'll go home and I'll go up and I'll watch a movie or I'll do something. I like watching TV.
What were you watching? As a kid, what were you watching? What was kind of your...
Listen, I'd be into every sport under the sun. Like I'll watch golf non-stop on TV. I'll watch, I'll watch American football. I would watch a lot of movies as well. Like, I'd watch a lot of older movies, I suppose. I love stuff like that, you know.
And I presume Superstars at some point when you were a kid was like...
Yeah, you know what? That's for definite. I love that. So I did. You get to watch, I think Pat Spillane would have been on it. Different GA players that I would have grown up watching were on it, and it was actually brilliant. I loved that.
So was all of that kind of in the melting pot in your head when you were sitting down originally to come out and devise, like, how are we going to make this work? You know, because the concept is obviously great, but then actually when you think about how to put together like individual segments of the show and what's going to work and what's not going to work, like a bit of Gladiators, I guess, as well, and all of that's kind of in the melting pot when you're thinking, we can do an Irish version of this, we can make it multi-generation.
Yeah, well, so I'm lucky, number one, that we ended up with we ended up with Anima and Kite production companies, and they, in fairness, they've even tweaked it an awful lot from the original idea we came up with. So I think every year we sit down and we'd look at new ideas, and there's some very good people in the production companies. They're top class, and they're always saying, how can we make this better? How can we make it more enjoyable for the people at home? And that's a big thing for them, you know.
Yeah, no, it's really interesting. And am I right in saying it's been successful? You've sold it internationally?
Yeah, we've sold it, and I know it's aired in probably 8 or 10 countries, 8, 9, 10 countries in that general vicinity, and there might be a bigger one or two not far away either. So like, I'm just so proud that an Irish concept has been bought in other countries. It's great. It's great for us, you know.
Since the last time we've spoken with you, you've taken up the role at Waterford. How straightforward was that for you? What was the thought process about getting back into intercounty management?
Well, firstly, I suppose I did enjoy my time last year with RT and the Sunday game. It was great, but to tell you the truth, I love being on the field. I love being in the training field. And when I met Waterford, our ideas pretty much aligned. I can remember meeting the chairman first for a general chat, and I just knew that the ideas we had were pretty similar, and I was excited to maybe get that opportunity and go again.
It's funny that I think I'm right in saying Davy Mahoney maybe is the only player you would have worked with in your previous stint with Waterford. Is that enticing as well? That, you know, it's a whole new group of players, bar one essentially.
Yeah, like, it was my first go into intercounty management, and let me say this: like, I went into a Waterford team that I would have actually I did battle with a lot of them there, but I actually would have admired them incredibly for the way they played and stuff like that. And I suppose it was tough to the degree that a certain amount of them were coming to the latter end of their career, and like, when you're trying to maybe get different ideas across, that's tough. Or when you're trying to tell one or two of them maybe your legs aren't the same as they were, like, it was a tough gig, even though I think that time we hit 4 All-Ireland semi-finals, got to an All-Ireland final, and got to 3 Munster finals, winning one. So, like, we kept thereabouts, but it wasn't an easy gig for your very first gig into inter-county management.
Can I ask you just about the year away, right? You were obviously with the Cork camogie team, so you weren't, and with various club teams as well, so you weren't totally away from it, but there was an opportunity for you to be out of the absolute constant on the phone non-stop to every panel member, you know, dealing with the social issues that they might have, dealing with the fitness issues, dealing with the nutrition, all that kind of stuff. So it was an opportunity for you to go and think, right, what's my philosophy? How do I want this to be played? What am I going to take? What's actually successful for Limerick at the moment? How do I counteract them? Has your view on the game changed at all from the little period where you weren't at the cold front day to day?
Yeah, well, let me just first say, right, so I did do Cork camogie, and I have to mention publicly, like, Matthew Toomey was the manager. You're right, like, the incredible job he had to do with regard to the day-to-day run of that team was incredible. I actually, for once, just had to turn up to the training field and do the training. And you know what? Them girls in Cork were absolutely incredible. We trained as hard as if you'd train any men's team, and their attitude was top class. And as a coach or as a trainer, are you going to keep 36 players happy? Probably not. No manager or coach will do that, but I so enjoyed my time. Did it give me a chance that last year to look at other stuff? It gave me a bit more time to, like, my work in the Sunday game meant I had to analyse different teams and look at different styles of play and maybe have a little think, is there a few things I would do differently now than I did in Wexford maybe 2 years ago? Answer to that is probably, yeah, there is a few things that I've noticed a bit differently in that, and we'll be trying to implement them, you know. So the year out didn't do me any harm whatsoever from being in the cold face, but it was a big difference because, like, I would have played for probably 17, 18 years, and then I went into another 14 of them on the back of that management. So you were gone out of that side of things, which was massive, Ger.
Yeah, I know. We were at our clock. They were having a night to celebrate recently, and we had a good conversation that night. I know that you were, I don't know, is critical the right word, but you thought that maybe you hadn't been given a fair crack at the whip when it came to how people spoke about your tactical flexibility. And we had Derek McGrath on recently, and he was making the point that there might be a perception out there, but the perception is wrong about your tactical flexibility. He thinks that you are, and that you have multiple game plans. So do you want to just talk to us a bit about that? Like, on this show, you may as well tell us what you think of us.
Yeah, well, I think I told you that night what I thought.
You did.
Yeah, you know, certain people will think that, and you know what, maybe if it was me 4 or 5 or 6 years ago, I'd try and justify that. I actually have no interest in trying to justify what style or what way we play. All I know is anyone that knows the hurling, if they really look at the game, and be it you play a +1, which is, some people call it a sweeper back to back, but if you really looked at the game of hurling for 70 minutes, is there 7 defenders there for 70 minutes? Not even remotely close to it. If you look at some of the more very dominant teams at the moment, they might have 2 wing forwards coming back into their backs a number of times. Their midfielders might be getting back, their 6 will be going back to their 3, and they will have a lot more than just a +1 back there, and they'll try and build the ball from there. So there's various different ways, and some people might think it's a straight 15. There hasn't been a straight 15 in hurling for a long, long time, and that's been honest with you. So there hasn't. So what people think, sure, I can't influence that. I don't really mind. My job is to try and see, can I get the team I'm with an opportunity to win a big one. That's the only thing I'm interested in. And plus, the biggest thing I want, and I really mean this, and I think a lot of teams will see this, I want the players I have to be given a freedom to go long, to go short, to go crossfield, to score from distance, to score inside. I think that's very important, and that would be my belief. Certain people wouldn't think that, but I don't really care, because maybe they just don't understand it, but that would be the way I'd see it.
So the point of having any structure is to give the players a template, and then to give them the freedom to make the decisions within that template that you think gives the team the best chance to succeed.
I honestly believe, if you can set them up well structurally, but then give them the ammunition to make their own decisions. And like, as I've said to you, in that, if you look at it most of the time, like, I can remember in Wexford at one stage, and I want you to think about this, my full-back Liam Ryan ended up, I think, giving a pass to Kevin Foley or Sean Murphy in that +1 position. Liam Ryan ends up below on the other 21 getting a score. Now, if that's holding a fella back, well, I don't know what the story is. As a young fella, when Liam was probably out hurling, he could have imagined himself doing X, Y, and Z and playing with that freedom. And you know what? Like, to me, that's one of my values. And if people see that, fine. If they don't, there's nothing we can do about that.
Sorry, Ger, to cut across you. Like, just reading the piece there, very fascinating piece, Davy, in the last week or two from Déise Hutchinson, where he was kind of referencing last year with Waterford and how they maybe possibly trained too hard, were too gassed, and a lot of people have kind of come up with different theories as to what happened to Waterford last year. There was high expectations. Like, someone now involved with the team and would have watched them as a pundit last year, can you put a finger on maybe where they might have gone wrong? Obviously, anything can happen game to game, but can you see where it might have stemmed from?
Yeah, like you've mentioned a few things, and that's been the talk. I'm not 100% sure yet. I'm just in the middle of trying to figure out different bits and pieces. But like, let's number one give Liam Cahill a lot of credit too. He won the league last year, got the All-Ireland semi-final the year before, was in the All-Ireland the year before that. Like, so he's had them thereabouts all the time. Last year's performance they won't be happy with. They were miles off. Last 2 championship games they were miles off. I've got to get in and maybe just figure out why that was, and I'm sure Liam even himself will be looking at that, why they were so far off at the end of it. So that's something we have to look at and try and make sure that doesn't happen again.
It's obviously a different Waterford group, as you talked about the first Waterford group that you came in on. How do you go about making sure that the players have that leadership within them? Like, what's your approach to building that leadership group within the players group?
Like, at the moment, I'm just trying to get to know the players. Number one, like, I went to a lot of club games, and I was actually, the amount of teams that played at +1 was actually incredible. Like, but the style they're playing, and I suppose that even from Derek McGrath's time, they would have been very, very structured. And I suppose down here at times, he would have got a tough time, but I thought they were so well structured and so organised into Pádraig Fannan's time, into Liam's time. And my job now is to get to know these players one-to-one, figure out what they're like individually. Then my job is to bring them together as a unit, but I have to understand them individually first, then try and marry them together as a unit, and that will come in many different forms, be it training, be it activities outside the training and all that. My job will be to bond them, but a lot of these fellas have been around each other for the last number of years, so I just want to see, can I improve on that bond? Obviously, when you get to a semi-final or win a league or get to an All-Ireland final, like, they're doing something right. So I just got to try and grow on that again.
I don't know if you remember, Pádraig Joyce caused a bit of a furore. Some waves were made when he went on Galway Bay FM and said, we're going to win All Ireland. And that was, Pádraig Joyce, a legend of Galway football, saying it. And they got very close this year. It took him a long time to get there, but eventually he got very close to dealing it. Are you somebody who believes in that, saying, okay, we're going to win All Ireland and manifesting it that way? Or would you prefer look, that's up for everybody else to say. What's your instinct about when it comes to something like that?
Yeah, and you know what, like Pádraig Joyce has done a great job. I think he's been fantastic in Galway, and if that's his approach, that's fine. My approach is, like, every game we go out to play, I want to try and win it, and the more of them you win, you're in with an opportunity to win everything that's going. Like, I'd love to win everything we could. Is that possible? I don't know. I have my own beliefs. I certainly will keep a lot of them for the panel. And whatever happens outside there, I'm sure yourselves and the public will judge it for what it is. All I put it to you this way is, my desire now to achieve is as strong as it's ever been. And I mean that sincerely. It is very strong. And every time that's inside me, I'll be trying to bring that out to get Waterford results and achieve victories. And that hunger is massive. And let's be honest with you, where it'll go, I don't know.
This is going to sound like a strange question from the outset, Davy, so bear with me for a second. But we were chatting earlier in the show about Eddie Jones, the England rugby manager, talking interviewed in the Times today, and he referenced a trip he took to San Diego a couple of weeks ago to meet with some of the US Navy SEALs, and he kind of referenced learnings from the operation that killed Osama bin Laden 11 years ago, and how he takes that into the game of rugby, and different things. Like, I guess it's a question of leadership and managers taking little tidbits of information from wherever they want to get it, I guess, and taking that into their own careers. Are you a manager who kind of does that type of thing, that picks up little bits here and there from other leaders in other fields or sports?
And the day you stop learning is the day you stop growing. If I was to manage the same way I managed when Clare won in 13, I don't think we have a chance. If I was to manage the same way I managed in Wexford, I don't think we have a chance. Even the last year has allowed me to talk to some other people and maybe get some other insights and see how I can become better as maybe a person and as a manager. And I think you have to always be prepared to listen and learn. And I think you always have to be prepared to evaluate yourself the same as you'll evaluate your players.
Listen, we wish you the very best of luck with the new season. I hope it's a massive smash hit for you again, as I've no doubt it will be. And best of luck with Waterford too. It's great to have you back.
Lads, thanks very much, and hopefully you'll enjoy the show Sunday night.
No doubt. Davy Fitz, thanks a million. Cheers.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
It's Davy Fitzgerald giving us some thoughts there.